Good morning and welcome everyone to another episode of Manifesting Monday here on Plenty of Fish in Uma's Lotus Lounge and on my Lotus Lounge podcast. Wow, that is a mouthful to start off with so early in the morning, but I am blessed and happy to be here. As you guys might notice, I do not have my co host here with me today. Unfortunately, our beautiful Danae has suffered a loss in her family. So we are sending our love, our light to Danae and her family members at this time as they take some much needed time off to grieve the loss of their family member. So please let's hold Danae in our prayers and her family as we begin our podcast and our show today with a little bit of meditation. So, for those of you that are joining in live on the Plenty of Fish app, we like to start our podcast show with a little bit of meditation. I know that you guys might be at work listening to me. I know some of you might be listening to the recording and you're at home, but just do me a favor and take 5 minutes, okay? Just 5 minutes to close your eyes, focus on your breathing, and just listen to the beautiful sounds of my singing bowls. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Nice deep breath in and exhale. As I do this round of singing bowl meditation, focus on this week and what you would like to achieve this week. Maybe some of you are hoping for something to come through. I get that call back from that job offer I put in for. Um, my significant other and I have a great week. The kids behave themselves. Just think about what you want this week to look like, and let's manifest that with the power of positive intention. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. You know, it's a great way to start your week with meditation because it just really sets your energy, it sets your vibe. And even if you had like a rough start to your day or yesterday was a bad day, I find like meditation is so great in just dispelling all of that, and just really allowing you to be in this present moment and to be thankful and grateful for everything that you have. All right, so we're going to go to our divine energy oracle message of the day. This is the cards by Sonia Choquette. So I'm just going to close my eyes and randomly ask for a message for the collective. What do we need to hear? What do we need to know? Okay, so we had one card drop out. We actually had two messages drop out, and they're both so good. So I will read both of them. Okay. All right. The first message: have faith. Have faith. Do you wonder why your dreams are blocked while some who are less deserving in your eyes appear to be succeeding with relative ease? Do you struggle to keep the faith when it seems that faith, not your efforts, decide things? Take a deep breath and let your emotions regroup. You're presently learning that on a soul level, justice is operating at all times, even when life appears to be no more than the luck of the draw. Your divine energy is calling you to broaden your view and accept that all things happen for an important spiritual reason, which you may not always fully understand. No matter what appears on the surface or however unjust or unfair life seems to be, trust that divine justice is operating at all times. For us to trust that divine justice is operating at all times means that we have to have faith. And faith is such a tricky thing because it's requiring us to believe in something not yet seen. So don't beat yourself up too much if you don't have faith. Faith in your life, faith in people, faith in things. That's okay. But it takes time and it takes a willingness to learn and to trust. All right? So one of our messages for this week from the divine is have faith. Welcome in, everyone. This is Uma's Lotus Lounge. It is a spiritual show here on the Plenty of Fish app and here on the Lotus Lounge podcast. Our next message for the day that comes from our spirit guides is go for your dreams. Are you plagued by regret over dreams unexplored? Do you wonder what might have been had you taken a different road? Do you fear it's too late or that you're too old to pursue your heart's desire at this time? The spirit within is activating your awareness and inviting you to reclaim lost dreams. Yes, some things are gone forever and must be accepted, mourned, and forgotten. But others only appear that way and are really just waiting for you to breathe life into them once again. Your divine energy is calling you to separate what's dead from the merely dormant. Bury the dead and accept, then give the inactive or ignored love in your heart all you have in order to receive it, whether in your art, your relationships, or even in your health. Your divine invitation is to find the courage to go for your dreams and forget excuses or fears. Give your full attention to what wants to live in you today that you've neglected or not supported. Let your inner lover, artist, or adventurer thrive and quit using your intellect and ego to kill these creative parts of you. This creative urge that is trying to emerge will bring new vitality to your life. Take the chance and believe in yourself. Then do everything you must to make your dreams come true. Don't hold back. Give your heart your full attention. I don't know about you guys, but I really needed this second message today. So it might have been a message for all of us, or it might have just been a message for Uma. But I recently had a big obstacle come up in my life where I had gained close to 8,000 followers on TikTok. And then my account got permanently banned because the reason, after I inquired and appealed, the reason was that they felt that the information I was sharing was misinformation and misguiding people. So I created a new account. By the way, follow me on TikTok, UmaB111. UMABEE111. Follow me on TikTok. But I created a new account and I'm creating different videos to see what is getting banned because I had a suspicion, but I wasn't sure. And sure enough, I did a video on the law of free will. And I even used appropriate words. The law of free will, according to Uma's opinion. This is my personal take on the law of free will. It's still, I tried to apply to get it promoted. It still was not promoted. So I hit this snag where I was like, I can't go for my dreams because I'm being blocked everywhere I turn, right? But Spirit reminded me today, where there's a will, there's a way. Continue to go for your dreams and find the way, find the platform where you can express yourself, because the knowledge you're sharing is not misinformation. In fact, the knowledge I'm sharing or trying to share is the life-saving information that will bring a lot of peace, harmony, comfort to many people. So we start all over again and we will make it some way, somehow we will make it on there. So those are our messages for today. Okay, have faith and follow your dreams. All right, today our article for discussion is going to come from 101 essays that will change the way you think. And our article for today is things you need to know about yourself before you have the life you want. All right? Things you need to know about yourself before you have the life you want. As C.G. Jung once said, oh, I'm going to need my glasses for this because, you know, if you know, you know. As C.G. Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. When it comes to building the lives we want to lead, we're taught to start constructing from how we imagine we want things to look. Titles rather than roles, images rather than realities, concepts rather than day in and day out tasks and duties and practices. It's time to dismantle the ego-frenzied Western obsession with a big life. And break it down to what it actually takes to exist in a way that we desire. Here are all the things you must know about yourself so you can choose the life you actually want, and the one, not the one you think you do. What do you want your daily tasks to be? We're instructed to choose the life we want based on what we think we want to be, but we're only capable of determining that insofar as we are able to think of what it would mean to have the title of a role. We rarely consider the nitty-gritty daily practice that is required for a peaceful, meaningful existence. Instead of, I want to help people each day, start asking yourself if the way you really want to do that is by caring for people physically, doing the task that actually requires. It all sounds flowery and noble when you think of what you want your life to be about, but you must consider the reality. When you go in choosing what you want each day of your life to consist of how much paperwork, how much time at the computer, how many hours of leisure, you're able to actually build the existence you want from the ground up. What kind of person do you want to be, as opposed to what titles do you want to have? It's not about choosing what kind of adjective you'd like as a preface to your job title, but what kind of person you want to be doing it. It ultimately doesn't matter whether you're a teacher, student, editor, or construction worker. It matters what kind of person you want to be while you do those jobs. Are you someone who is kind and understanding, who spends the better portion of their day conversing with loved ones? Someone who is busy from daybreak to day end? Someone who is distracted, attentive, hardworking? You ultimately are defined not by what you do, but how you do it. What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want them to say at your funeral? That you wore a small pant size and had a successful job that prevented you from actually developing relationships? Or that you were loving and kind and cared about your work, but cared about people more? Your impermanence is a thing you should meditate on every day. There is nothing more sobering, nor scary, nor a faster way to cut the negative BS than to remember that you do not have forever. What defines your life when it's all said and done is how much you influence other people's lives. Oftentimes, just through your daily interactions and the courage with which you live your own. That's what people remember. That's what you'll be known for when you're no longer around to define yourself. What comes most effortlessly to you. We tend to believe and induce a kind of difficulty with tasks we determine to be meaningful or profound or important. If the things we love and especially get paid for are also effortless, it seems as though they are unmerited. We believe we have to suffer for the things we have and love, when we in fact do not. It's just as worthwhile, if not maybe more so, to figure out what you effortlessly naturally do and learn to capitalize on it while not feigning effortlessness, but just allowing it. What do you even unconsciously believe that your existence is about? Is it random, the act of a higher power? It doesn't matter who is right or wrong or totally nuts. We may never know for sure, but it is about developing a personal dogma that serves you. This is the singular, most telling belief about a person because it essentially defines how you approach everything else. If you believe that your faith is yours to choose, you will. If you don't, you'll stay victimized, self pitying, waiting, and begging on your knees until some external circumstance shifts and it's deemed the random work of a higher power. If that's how you want to exist, that's your prerogative. But I find that most people don't. Most people want to reclaim their power and choose for themselves. But that liberation begins with one question. What do you think you're here for? What's the point of it all? Explore what you most inherently believe and then determine how you can live that out to the best of your ability. Why do you do what you do each day? Is it to feel a high? For money? For livelihood? There's no right or wrong answer here. The point is simply just to know what most strongly motivates you. Even if it's just making a living, you can fuel a passion project with the desire to more comfortably pay bills each month. Longer term goals and simple survivalist needs are often the most grounding and constant desires to base yourself in. They should be balanced out with meaningful work and a sense of purpose, but if they are ultimately why you do what you do, don't fight it for some morally superior alternative. Use it to fuel something emotionally, mentally, spiritually positive. In your fantasy daydreams, who and what are you, and how do other people regard you? The recurring themes of your daily daydreaming represent what you're actually seeking from others in various areas of your life. This is your subconsciously motivating factor because it's the thing you have yet to give yourself. Whatever it is, it's a projection of the thing you most feel you lack, and therefore subconsciously seek from others. Is it that people admire you for your beauty, your creativity, your talent, your success, your money? Figure out what you crave and figure out how to feed that need yourself. What do you dislike most about other people? What you most dislike in others is in some variation true of you. You just haven't been able to acknowledge it yet. The more angrily and fiercely you respond no to that idea, the more intensely you are trying to avoid it. Anger equals recognition. You don't lash back at things you don't in some way regard as being real. So figure out what you most need to heal within yourself by seeing what you most want to change in others. Doing so will free you in a way you can't imagine. Doing so is a necessary piece of the life you want puzzle, because all the energy you're using trying to avoid, deflect, delude your way into not acknowledging what you need to heal, change, deal is being wasted at best and is actually actively keeping you from the life you want at worst. What is worth suffering for? Everything is hard in some way. It's hard to be in the wrong relationship. It's hard to be in the right one. It's hard to be broke and miserable. It's hard to achieve your dreams. It's hard to be stuck in the middle, not really feeling anything at all. Everything is hard, but you choose your hard. You choose what's worth it. You don't choose whether or not you'll suffer, but you do choose what you want to suffer for. What owns you in this lifetime? Who owns you in this lifetime? Is it your desire for happiness, the past, the relationship that almost was but ultimately didn't, your body hang up, your fear, your loneliness, your lack of self worth? Everybody has one thing that ultimately owns them, drives them, controls them at some level. It's the pattern that everything else is rooted in. It's the issue that crops up again and again. It's what you insatiably seek, then run away from, only to find you ran right into it. What owns you in this life makes up the majority of what you do. So you need to know what it is. It's usually not about freeing yourself from these ties that bind you, but learning to wield them for a greater purpose. Finding the shard of empathy and hope and understanding tucked deeply within your existential suffering. There is a purpose to all things. Your job is not to understand why, but just to find it in the first place. That was a mouthful, wasn't it? That was a mouthful. But let's dissect this a little bit. There were so many things here said. The first thing it was said is what you vehemently say no to is what you are trying to work on within yourself. And that resonated for me because when I was in the ashram training to become a yoga teacher, um, I remember I had an issue with this girl that was also in the class, and she had an issue with me. We just, it's so embarrassing to talk about now, but we just used to go back and forth in the classroom with the yogis, with the teachers, and we would just, go back and forth. And when we had one class, it was so bad that the master yogi pulled us aside and had a conversation with us. And he asked her, "What do you not like in Uma?" And then he asked me, "What do you not like in her?" And then he said, "Every person is a mirror representing to you aspects of yourself that you don't like and that you want to work on." And that's what I feel this essay is saying as well, is that the things that we see in other people that we don't like is actually a reflection of things that we are working on with ourselves. Now you got to take your ego down a whole lot to understand that, because your ego is going to say, "No, I don't have anything like her. I have nothing in common with her." But when you look a little deeply, yeah, you do. You sure do, right? Um, don't let the ego get in the way, is what I'm trying to say. Don't let the ego get in the way. Understand that people are just mirrors to you and what's going on within you. If you love everybody and you don't have a care in the world and you just let people live their life and you're not checking on what they're doing, you don't take anything offensively to what they're saying, you are in your highest alignment, because you are saying essentially, You are free to be you, and I am free to be me. And together we can coexist in beautiful harmony, right? But when we start to pick at people, oh, she's religious, she's not spiritual. Oh, look at what he's wearing. Oh, look at who she's dating. When we do things like that, it breaks down our soul because our soul is not really focused on creating disruptions with other people. Our soul is focused solely on our own path and moving forward and evolving and growing and learning and having this joyous experience of living, right? So that was the big takeaway that I took from that essay is the things that you look at with other people, make sure it's not so much an issue with another person, but it is something that you're working on within yourself, but you're displacing that on someone else. The next thing that we took away from this essay is that we are, it started at the beginning. C.G. Jung, famous psychiatrist, said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. A lot of us have unconscious programming running in the back of our minds. And we think when things happen in our life, oh, that's fate. I got banned on TikTok. Oh, that's fate. But what was the unconscious thought behind there that I did not make conscious? The unconscious thought behind there is that I cannot succeed on social media because social media is part of the problem. Social media is part of the problem of spreading lies and misinformation and creating this group cancel culture, So when I came to social media, I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to make a change. I wanted to share the teachings that were taught to me from my very esteemed spiritual teachers. I wanted to share that knowledge. And in sharing that knowledge, I ruffled a lot of feathers. And in ruffling a lot of feathers, I got reported a lot. And in all those reports and all of those viewing my videos, TikTok, ultimately decided to permanently ban that account. So I started over, right? Because the unconscious became conscious. The unconscious became conscious, and I became aware of the power I was using to create this dynamic. So now I can change it. Now I can change it. How can I change it? I can look at social media as a means of spreading the information I have to help people. I can choose to avoid hot topics, right? I can try to find what is the norm, what's the comfort zone, what's the comfort level. I could save the hot topics for when people book me for one-on-one sessions or come to my retreats. I can save it for those, and I can use social media for the entry-level stuff. What are chakras? How to meditate, right? The benefits of yoga. I can do this. I can readjust. I can play the game. I can be in this matrix and exist to learn not to ruffle too many feathers. But how many of you are willing to do that, right? To reroute, to rethink, to reprocess. How many of you, honestly, stay just stubborn? No, this is what I want. This is how I want it. This is how I'm going to do it, right? How many of us do that? I used to do that. But the older you get, the more wise you get, and the more you realize it's not about fighting and winning. It's about how can I adjust? How can I still get what I want, but in a different way? How can I still do the work that I want to do, but in a different way, right? You pivot, you readjust, you play by the rules. The rules of TikTok is it is a very censored platform. You will not be able to say and do anything on there. And I'm not mad at it. I'm happy for it, right? Because there's people on there that could be very harmful and, really incite really harmful behavior. So I don't mind about the high censorship, but I also know that I have to create my own network of how I'm going to get this information out. And it's not going to be through social media, right? So, things you need to know about yourself before you'll have the life you want. Make the unconscious conscious. Be aware of what your fears, your limiting beliefs are. Be aware of where you get stuck and do something about it. Get with a healer. Do some shadow work. Work on that inner child. Release those limiting beliefs. One of the things I do at my center is called access bars, created by Gary Douglas in the 90s. And I love it. I have the client lay on the table. I touch different parts of their head while we talk about things that they're blocking them. We use an energetic clearing statement. We uncreate, destroy these limiting beliefs energetically. Mentally, they feel more relaxed. Physically, they feel very peaceful. Emotionally, spiritually, they feel very calm. And they feel great by the time they end the session and leave. It's that simple, guys. Learn how to uncreate and destroy these negative thoughts, these limiting beliefs, these mental patterns that are holding you back, and then allow yourself to just flow in the direction that you really came here to flow to. But all of that takes work, right? And you got to do the work. All right. That is our essay of the day. Now, we're going to do some free affirmations for everyone. I'm going to pick 3 affirmations. So in your mind, just meditate for a second while I shuffle. Think about the numbers 1, 2, and 3 and ask your spirit guides, what number am I called to? What is my message today? Okay, so for those of you that chose these messages, this is a message from your spirit guide to you, and you can use this as your affirmation for the day, for the week. So please feel free to write it down when you get your message, okay? So choose a number from 1, 2, or 3 for your message, your affirmation from your spirit guides. Message A. For those of you that chose message A, your spirit guides are saying, you are present. You are present. Today, pay close attention to the ideas that flow to you. You are present. Your spirit guides are saying, we are giving you the next steps, where you need to go, what you need to do, through your mindset, through the thoughts you are receiving. You are in a present state. You're not focused on the past. You're not thinking about the future. You are present. So for those of you that chose card A, you are present. Pay attention to the ideas that flow to you today. These are coming from your higher self and your spirit guides. Okay? All right. For those of you that chose card B, you are thriving. You are thriving. Your life is abundant. This is a gentle reminder from your spirit guides that if you're not focusing on the abundance in your life, then you are creating lack through your intention and your attention. So focus on the abundance in your life if you are looking for more abundance to come in. And finally, for those of you that chose card C, you are generous. You are generous. Stay open to receiving good and generously giving good. This is a message from your spirit guides that all of life is give and take, push and pull, yin and yang. For you to receive, you must give. So, give of your heart, give freely of your gifts, your resources, your time, your energy, and those will come back to you. Thank you, stars, for the gift of love. All right. That is your affirmations of the day. Remember, for those of you that are watching live on Plenty of Fish, my top 3 gifters will get a free psychic message from your spirit guides. And we are about to do readings. So if you send a 2K gift, you will get a full reading for the week. And if you send a 500 gift, you will get a reading, a message for the week. Okay, so for those of you that are listening to the podcast, we are going to end our time here together with a law of attraction message. All right? The law of attraction message today. I can stop attracting don't wants by attention to do wants. I can stop attracting don't wants by attention to do wants. You cannot rid the world of things that bother you. You have got to rid your vibration of things that bother you. And when you rid your vibration of things that bother you, no things that bother you can come. That's the law of attraction. But you cannot really rid anything from your vibration because there is no exclusion in this attraction-based universe. The only way to stop attracting something that you don't want is by giving your attention to something that you do want. But you have to take small steps in it. So your law of attraction message today is the only way to stop attracting things that you don't want is by giving your attention to something that you do want. You have to learn the art of ignoring. If something is not going right in your life, you have to ignore it for a little bit so that it can clear, it can change, it can transform into something that you do want. I know it's going to sound really weird to a lot of you who aren't practicing the law of attraction. You want me to just ignore it and it's going to just automatically disappear? Pretty much. Or it's going to change or transform into something that you do want. Okay? But the more attention you put on something, the more that thing creates. So let's say, for instance, you and your spouse are fighting. Ignore them for a little bit. Don't pay attention to them. Ignore their words. Ignore their cold behavior. Focus on your life. Focus on things that bring you joy. Sooner rather than later, your spouse is going to miss the happy, joyful you and being in your energy, and they're going to turn around. They're going to change and come towards you, right? But if you keep picking at them and fighting with them, then the fight continues, right? So that is what the basics of this law of attraction message is today. You can stop attracting what you don't want by just paying attention to things that you do want. That is your message for the day. All right. I want to thank you guys on the podcast for listening in. I hope that you enjoyed our weekly Manifesting Monday podcast. And I promise Danae will be back soon enough once she is healed and after her period of mourning. All right. Guys, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our podcast, The Lotus Lounge, here on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can hear podcasts, Buzzsprout, of course. Please feel free to subscribe. It is free to subscribe. I will see you again next week. Bye, guys.